Fatherland videos. We have Egyptian mythology book read tonight. I know y'all gonna love this. All y'all people, y'all African Americans, and can't nobody tell you different. Y'all gonna love this. It's something also we have grown familiar to love with doing this book research, studying Queen Mu after Atlantis have sank, going to Mesoamerica mainland. Atlantis was in the mythologies of Atlantis were in the Mesoamerican mythology book we were reading, so that lets you know its geographical location. So we were reading Queen Mu, and when it sank, she came to Mesoamerica, the mainland, and she built a temple hall because the pyramids and all the stuff was already built. So she added to the temple hall there, and then she left to Africa to build Egypt, or whatever you want to call that land in that day and time, and what you want to call it today. However, she built Kemet, or she built Egypt. So it's something that we have also learned to love and gain knowledge of why we are so attached to Egypt. And so y'all gonna love this. Y'all gonna love this. We all should be loving this. I was saying earlier, you should love it because y'all always talking about African American in Egypt and stuff, but with the research and the books we're reading, we all should be in love with the Egyptian culture, the land, the pyramids, and all that stuff that comes with it. That was something that our people from America went out there and developed in the times of antiquity. So we're gonna get into the mythology. This mythology that I chose to read is along the lines of also of last night of trying to get some wisdom from the motherland. We have had severe problems with abortion and husband and wife and families being connected and being together. Reading into some of the things of the brothers and sisters in the motherland are doing, and some of their wise teachings of how they are, no matter what we say about them, they are in love with each other today, and they are in charge of their land. Getting some of their ancient teachings. We are reading Legend of the Birth of Horus, son of Isis and Osiris. So that's going to be something talking about the whole black family of when once upon a time the black man loved the black woman, and it was royal. It's a royal love, a powerful, an empire of a love, a god and a goddess, and a hero child, future god of a love, that family connection, that black man and that black woman, coming together and having children and understanding how important that child was, how important that connection, that love between the man and the woman was, the Holy Trinity, they call it. So we're going to get into that. Let me get some other stuff together before we get into the reading, and I'll introduce the book with the author, and I know it's Flame Tree Publishing. So we'll introduce the author and the book, all that stuff, and we get right into it. Give me a couple of seconds. what y'all want. All them Egypt tattoos and ain't nobody, this is what you want. So give it to you. Either you're living right or you ain't. Epic Tales, Egyptian Myths and Tales. This book is forwarded by Dr. Chris Nunton in Flame Tree Publishing. We're on page 162. Y'all know why I'm saying what I'm saying, right? Y'all love y'all some Egypt. So this is for y'all. Now, this culture of Egypt came from the Americas. Now, when we read into this, it's gonna give you some knowledge and some insight of how you should be living. And whether you want to say you Native American, Aboriginal, you African American, or you're attached to this Egyptian culture, if you're not living by it, you're not going to be blessed by it. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. So we're going to get into it and pay close attention to the wise teachings and the lessons being read to you and see, are you deserving of the blessing? Are you making your ancestors honor? Or are you cursed? And do you have a lifestyle that's blasphemous to the frequency or the type of spirituality that you subscribe to? Because Black Americans, we complain about our conditions, but we never read the directions of the lifestyle we are subscribed to. And when we do tap into it, we always go to somewhere where somebody's telling us what it is versus reading it ourselves, or we're Googling it. And there's nothing wrong with Google. I love Google. I love YouTube, Facebook. They're my favorite. But when it comes to your lifestyle, this is something that you should have Googled. You should have books and text on. This is also things that you should have mentors and people journeying with you to help. They say iron sharpens iron. You know, it's not just Googling it. It's not just going sitting somewhere and somebody telling you what you should be doing. You should have books on it. So that's why I said get ready, because I know what it is. And y'all know what it is too. I'm not reading this right now for no reason. Here we go. We're gonna have a good time. Oh yeah, we're gonna have a good time. Legend of the birth of Horus, son of Osiris and Isis. The text which contains the legend is found cut in hieroglyphics upon a stele which is now preserved in Paris. Attention was first called to by the Chabas, who in 1857 gave a translation of it in the Review of the Archaeological Crew and pointed out the importance of its contents with his characteristics, ability. The hieroglyphic text was first published by Ladrine in his work on the monuments of the Bibliothèque Nationale in Paris, and I gave a transcript of the text with transliteration and translation in 1895. I don't like cutting into the readings. I like reading it word for word, but this is something that's very important to stop and point out. He said with transliteration at the end of the first paragraph. With transliteration and translation in 1865. So transliteration is something that is very negative, and it means to translate it, but I think with the intent to purposely give incorrect information with the translation. It's called transliteration. You know the word illiterate. That's literation. Not to translate, but transliteration. So I had to point that out. He admitted that that's weird that he admitted that. Most people will just put some racist or some sexist or some type of discriminative nature on a text and not admit to it, but to be admitting to your either racial or sexist translation of something. I've never seen somebody admit to it, but I think he put it in there not knowing, assuming that most people wouldn't be able to pick on what transliteration means. So we begin here on the second paragraph. I'll read this second half of that paragraph again. The hieroglyphic text was first published by Ladrine in his work of monuments of the Bibliothèque Nationale in Paris, and I gave a transcript of the text with the transliteration and the translation in 1895. So it was both of them, the fucked up one and the real one in 1895. It's crazy. Second paragraph here. The greater part of the text consists of the hymn to Osiris, which was probably composed under the 18th dynasty. See the Roman numerals here. The 18th dynasty, when the extraordinary development of the cult of the god took place, and when he placed Egyptian theologians at the head of all gods. Though unseen in the temples, his presence filled all Egypt. So I guess that's what he transliterated. He said he put Osiris as the head of all gods, though that was unseen in the temples. So Osiris is also known as the Great One from the West. Okay, so even though he was the first god of Egypt, you got to understand he was just a messenger from the gods of the Mesoamerica. Came with Queen Mu, who built Egypt. So why did he put Osiris as the head of all gods when he was just a Olmec sailor from Atlantis that went to... I don't like to cut off from the reading, but this is something that we have to point out when we're reading, in case people are not picking up on what they're saying. They're saying some very important things amongst transliterating this stuff. Well, that's why we have Egypt. We hold Egypt. This is why we hold Egypt so privy over other civilizations in the Asias with their pyramids, and also here in the Americas with their pyramids. It's talking about it right here. It's right here in writing right now. That's why I'm cutting it out and telling y'all, because a lot of people like to argue and go back and forth about how important Egypt is, and it being the first land, and to be the pinnacle point where this guy here published by Ladrine, You wonder why you never hear that name when they talk about how great Egypt is, because he's the one, when he first starts to do this stuff in 1857, they start to push this Egyptology stuff. When you look at who started it, Ladraine, he admits that he purposely did it with transliteration, and he also had a translation. I wonder who has the original translation saying that they came from Mesoamerica. That's not, we read about it, we know it came. But also it's saying here that that he put the Egyptian theologians at the head of all the gods, though unseen in the temples. So when you go to the temples around the world, that's not saying that these Egyptian people were the head of all. And then we read about Queen Mu, like, nah, y'all the children of Queen Mu. Y'all parents are the Mesoamericans from Atlantis, who were an island culture from the mainland of Mesoamerica. Y'all were just, even y'all's mother and father from Atlantis weren't even a part of the main culture of the mainland in Mesoamerica. Y'all were just an island culture, which were great people coming from the times of antiquity. So that's what it's talking about here. I'm going to start this second paragraph over again. The greater part of the text consists of a hymn to Osiris, which was probably composed under the 18th dynasty, when the extraordinary development of the cult of the god took place, and when he was placed by the Egyptian theologians at the head of all gods. Though unseen in the temples, his presence filled all Egypt, and his body formed the very substance of the country. He was the god of all gods, and the governor of two companies of the gods. He formed the soul and the body of Ra. He was the beneficent spirit of all spirits. He was himself the celestial food on which the doubles in the other world lived. That's saying something right there. The doubles in the other world live. It's talking about, you can call, let's say you want to call Africa, Egypt, the underworld, and you want to call Mesoamerica the upper world or something, whatever. So they're saying how when he came and he's part, Osiris, that name means the great one from the west. So he has a great journey in traveling God attribute from Mesoamerica, not the supreme God, but a God that was going to spread the pyramid culture and spread the knowledge. But he also has the double. Let's talk about the double. He also has the image or the characteristic of the supreme God once he gets to Egypt and they develop their culture there. Oh, he is the God that came from heaven, or that came from Mesoamerica. So it's talking about something there. The doubles in other world live. He was the greatest of the gods of the Heliopolis, Memphis, Heracleopolis, Hermopolis, Abdubus, and the region of the first cataract. And so he embodied in his own person the might of Ratim, Apis, and Ptah, and the Horus gods, Thoth, Khnum, and this rule over Osiris and Abydos continued to be supreme, as had been for many, many hundreds of years. He was the source of the Nile. The north wind sprang from him. He seats were the stars of heaven which never set, and the imperishable stars were his ministers. All heaven was his dominion, and the doors of the sky opened before him of their own accord when he appeared. He inherited the earth from his father Keb, and the sovereignty of the heaven from his mother Nut. In his person he united endless time in the past and endless time in the future. Like Ra, he had fought Seba or Set, the monster of evil, and he had defeated him, and his victory assured to him lasting authority over the gods and the dead. He exercised his creative power in kinds and fish and creeping things. Even the waste spaces of the desert owed allegiance to him as the creator. And he rode out the sky, and he set the light above the darkness. The last paragraph of the text contained an allusion to Isis, the sister wife of Osiris. The sister wife. They talk about, it doesn't talk about it necessarily a lot of Egyptology that I've heard, but when you go to Mesoamerican mythology, it talks about how the daughter of the sons have to marry the sons of the sons. So we know by Golden Heart being another mythology we read from Atlantis, they kept their ways when they were in Egypt. That was his sister, not his sister, but a sister. They were all children of the sun, right? Of the sun god. So they're not meaning that he married his sister. They mean they married a sister of the sun. So we know that terminology. We know where these people come from, where their roots are at, right? So we know what they mean when they're saying that. The last paragraph of the text contains the allusion to Isis, the sister and wife of Osiris, and mentions the legend of the birth of Horus. So back to what I was saying though, you ain't supposed to be marrying outside of you're not supposed to be doing that. If you are part of the royal bloodline. If you're a part of any type of high royal you're not supposed to marry the child of the sun and son of the sun, the daughter of the sun. All that stuff is also like children of God. I'm the son of God, I'm the daughter of God. That's also along that stuff. So you're not supposed to be marrying outside of your race. If you are a child of God or a child of the sun or a daughter of the sun. So that's what we're reading here. And that's why we're reading it, because we want to know, why are we doing good as black people in America, or why are we struggling? You want to believe in Egyptology and stuff like that, but are you living by the Egypt tattoos and Egyptian stuff and that Greek stuff? Because we know that's all part of it too. That was the way of connecting Mesoamerica to Egypt, was Greek mythology. It was Greece. You know, we'll read up on that one day. Anyway, we are told the constant protectress of her brother, she drove away the fiends that wanted to attack him and kept them out of his shrine and tomb, and she guarded him from all accidents. All these things she did by the means of spells and incantations, large numbers of which were known to her, and by her power as the witch goddess, her mouth was trained to perfection, and she made no mistake in pronouncing her spells, and her tongue was skilled and halted not. At length came to unlucky day when Six succeeded in killing Osiris during the war which the good God was waging against him and his friends. Details of the engagement are wanting, and details of the engagement are wanting, but the pyramid texts state that the body of Osiris was hurled to the ground by Set at the place called Netet, which seems to have been near Abydos. The news of the death of Osiris was brought to Isis, and she at once set out to find his body. All legends agree in saying that she took the form of a bird, and that she flew about unceasingly, going hither and thither, and uttering wailing cries of grief. At last she found the body, and with the piercing cry, she alighted on the ground. Then the pyramid texts say Nefertiti's was with her at that Isis came. Nefertis came, the one of the right side and the other of the left side. My bad, I get kind of loud out here. My neighbors come in and out, and I gotta try to keep this as professional because it's so unprofessional as I can. Make that make sense. One in the form of a hat bird, the other in the form of the ticker bird, and they found Osiris thrown on the ground. Hey girl, what you want? You want to read it? Huh? Come on, you can read it with me. The one of the ticker bird, and they found Osiris thrown on the ground and attacked by his brother Set. The late form of the legend goes on to say that Isis fanned the body with her feathers and produced air, and at the length she caused the inner members of Osiris to move and drew from him his essence, wherefrom she produced her child Horus. The bare statement of the dogma in the conception of Horus does not represent all that is known about it, and it may well be supplemented by the passage from the pyramid text which reads, "Adoration to thee." O Osiris, rise up on thy left side, place thyself on thy right side. This water which I give unto thee is the water of youth, or rejuvenation. Adoration to thee. O Osiris, rise up upon thy left side, place thyself on thy right side. This bread which I made of thee is warmth. Adoration to thee. O Osiris, the doors of heaven are open to thee, the doors of the streams are thrown wide open to thee. The gods in the city of Pi come to thee. Osiris, at the sound or voice of the supplication of the Isis and Nefertiti, the elder sister took the body in her arms. She chafed thy hands, she clasped thee to her breast, when she found thee lying on the side of the plain of attack. And in another place will read, thy two sisters, Isis and Nefertiti, came to thee, Kamert, in the name of Kamur, Aturiter, in the name of Actor. Isis and Nefertiti, weave the magical protection for thee in the city of Sa'at, for thee their Lord, in the name of the Lord of Sa'at, for their God, in the name of God, for the praises of thee. Go not there far. Go not that far from them in thy name of Tur. They present offerings to thee. Be not wroth in thy name of Tektu. Thy sister Isis cometh to thee, rejoicing in her love for thee. Thou hast union with her, thy seed entereth her. She conceiveth in the form of the star Septet. Sotis, Horus sept issueth form for thee in the form of Horus, dwelling in the star Septet. Thou makest a spirit to be in him, in his name, spirit dwelling in the god of Tektu. He avenges thee in his name of Horus. the son who avenges his father. Hail, Osiris, Keb hath brought thee Horus. He hath avenged thee. He hath brought thee to the hearts of the gods. Horus hath given thee his eye, though he has taken possession of Urit crown, thereby at the head of the gods. Horus has presented to thee thy members. He hath collected them completely. There is no disorder, and above were addressed to the dead kings in the pyramid text, and what the gods were supposed to do from them was believed by the Egyptians to have been actually done for Osiris. The instructions are peculiarly valuable, for they prove that the legend of Osiris, which was current under the 18th dynasty, was based upon traditions which were universally accepted in Egypt under the 5th and 6th dynasties. The hymn concludes with the reference to the accession of Horus, son of Isis, the flesh and bone of Osiris, to the throne of his grandfather Keb, and to the welcome with the received the Takja and the administrators of heaven, in the company of the gods as the lords of truth, who assembled in the great house of Heliopolis to acknowledge his sovereignty. His succession also succeeded in approval of Nefertiti, who was all he saw from the first legend in his book, was creator of the universe. So that was that mythology there. I don't want to read further because it gets into that spell and it talks about a hymn. And y'all know I got the other Egyptian book with spells that I never read because I'm not into that and I got to get rid of it. But that's what the history of Horus was. When it talks about Jesus in the Bible and how Jesus said, his mama said, "What are you doing?" He was with the wise teachers, and Jesus say to his mama something along the lines, I got to be about my father's business. And that's kind of what Horus was about. He was about avenging his father and the slaying of his father, the king, the pharaoh, and his mom. Most people will say that these mythological stories are not true. So when you talk about these waters and the rivers and stuff she rejuvenated him with, and she opened up the doors and all this stuff to let the spirit of Osiris in, and now it came out, hey, Horus, that's all like people will say that's not real, didn't really happen. They're talking about her getting pregnant and stuff like that. But what if it's both, right? But my main focus was reading this. I knew I would be able to reach people who classify themselves as African Americans, who love the Egyptian culture so much, rightfully so, by the way of Queen Mu from Atlantis in Mesoamerica, rightfully so, who built Egypt. And Osiris, the great one from the West, rightfully so. You should love Egypt. It's something reading these mythologies I learned, like, oh shit, we built that shit. Because I got so far being woken conscious on this Asiatic black man, so I was like, we ain't got shit to do with Africa, right? But reading these books, it's like, oh shit, we built Egypt. So, that's why we call ourselves cowboys. That's why we have the Houston Texans. That's why the Bull and the Longhorns, we're number one. Shout out to those Longhorns. Papa Fontaine built the University of Texas here in Austin, Texas. Shout out to Longhorn, number one. That's why we have all these bulls and stuff, because that's a symbol of heaven. And that's also why in the Bible it talks about them. When they built Egypt, the people that worship the golden calf, the golden bull, why the royal families in Egypt, why God said they can't worship that false god anymore. And when he was like, where did they get that bull stuff from? Why were they worshiping the bull? It comes back from the cowboys, the Southern America, Central America, the Longhorns, the Houston Texans. It comes from this Southern Texas and Mexico region type of the symbol of heaven, which is the calf, the bull. Reading this today, my purpose was to give some knowledge to these people who they hear about. You join these organizations that tell you about Egyptology, that tell you that it's okay to have abortions and you can divorce and you ain't gotta be loyal to your man. You could be a single mother. But according to these book readings, that is not anything close to these Egypt, the Ankh tattoo, the Nefertiti, the Osiris tattoos, the Egypt tattoos that you have. It's nothing close to it, and it's blasphemous, and you're cursed by it because you're not living right by whatever you're subscribing to. And these people, these organizations you think are giving you power and privilege are misleading you. She loved her brother husband. He loved his sister wife, sister of son of God and daughter of God, the son of the son and the daughter of the son, not brother and sister, but they were children of the son. They were brothers and sisters by the sun God or the God. They were children of God. They were brothers. What's up, my sister? What's up, my brother? They were brothers and sisters like that. And they had to be in love with each other to have and strive to greatness. And when they were not, we know about Cleopatra when she wanted to diverse and swirl and how the whole Egypt fell apart. So that was my purpose with reading this today, is to connect people with the spiritualities that they subscribe to, and also to have some knowledge. And reading is fundamental, and it's fun and fundamental. And I hope y'all enjoyed it. We're going to get back to some Mesoamerica or some of these other folklore and cultures. We've done Africa and Egypt 2 days in a row, and it was purposely done. And you know, when we look down on people as Black Americans, let's not be pessimistic. Let's look at the people, what we can learn from them. When we look to Africa, there's a lot of brothers and sisters in love, and their presidents, their CEOs, their politicians, they're in control of their land, maybe under some type of bondage at some level, but they have the most important thing, that's love for each other. And I hope this inspires us to love each other again and see nothing but love within each other. If it has to be love, it has to be my brother. If it has to be love, it has to be with my sister. And we once again will build powerful empires and have special and powerful children like Horus. That's the only way to produce these special and powerful children, is when that brother and that sister get together. This is Fatherland Videos.